Welcome to sunny California. 2 spots at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics up for grabs today. Canada and Costa Rica battle it out in this first semifinal match. The winner, they book their ticket to Tokyo. Welcome everybody to Dignity Health Sports Park in Carson, California. I'm Jordan Angeli alongside the U.S. Women's National Team legend Lori Lindsay, and we've got 2 really superb matchups for you today. Beautiful pitch conditions, 64 degrees. You can't ask for a better day to play a little football as you see Costa Rica and Canada making their way out onto the field. Now, Lori Lindsay, you've been in this spot before. You've been in that tunnel walking onto the field in the 2012 Olympic qualifiers. What's that feeling like?
It is everything that you have dreamed of. This is all the hard work that you've put in, whether it's been alone, whether it's with your team, and now is when it counts the most. I mean, as you said it earlier, it's about whoever wins these 2 matches books their ticket to Tokyo 2020.
This is how Group A ended up. Costa Rica in the 2nd spot, USA in the 1st spot. So Costa Rica then plays the winner of Group B. In Group B, well, Canada took over there. 22 goals for them. They didn't give up 1 goal. Mexico sat in 2nd. So that's our 4 teams in the 2 semifinal matches. The teams that maybe looking into this, you expected to be in this semifinal matches?
Absolutely. I mean, looking at Canada and Mexico in Group B, and then the other group with Costa Rica and the U.S., top teams that have come out of Concacaf each qualifiers. I mean, it's always been a competitive qualifiers, but again, top 3, Mexico, Canada, and the U.S. have always been the leaders.
All-time 14th meeting between these 2 teams. The 2nd consecutive time they have met in the semifinals here for Concacaf Women's Olympic qualifiers. Good pictures here as both teams get set and ready. We're going to go to the field where there's going to be a special presentation from Concacaf to now the leading women's goal scorer in all international soccer, Christine Sinclair.
The extraordinary achievements of Canada's Christine Sinclair, who last week broke the all-time international goal-scoring record among both men and women when scoring her 185th goal for Canada.
If you would have scored later in the game, we'd have no agree on it.
No, it's gotta be perfect and pretty.
On behalf of the entire Confederation, Concacaf President Victor Montagliani will now recognize Christine's amazing achievements by presenting her with a commemorative 185 jersey and the game ball with which her record-breaking goal was scored. Please, everyone, let's all give a round of applause for this outstanding athlete.
Well, I'll take it from here.
Yeah, wish us good luck, eh?
Yeah, I can't. Don't worry about it.
Canada, to be followed by the national anthem of Costa Rica.
Welcome back to Dignity Health Sports Park. As you just heard the national anthems for both of these squads, Costa Rica and Canada, shake hands before the start of our first semifinal here in California. For Canada, Stephanie LeBay will be in goal. Christine Sinclair once again captains the squad.
3 total changes since their last game. Keep an eye on number 2, Alicia Chapman, and also number 10, Ashley Lawrence, both back into the starting lineup. Going to provide that width where Canada has had so much success, but also keep your eye on number 17, Jessie Fleming. She's going to be the one that's going to interchange with Christine Sinclair up top.
Good look at the starting 11 there. All smiles right now, but so much on the line for these two squads. They know that victory means Tokyo. Costa Rica on the other side wearing their all-white kits. As we see Captain Christine Sinclair for Canada shake hands with Captain Shirley Cruz for Costa Rica. Lucila Venegas Montes from Mexico will be our center official, a mixture of Mexican and United States officials in this one. Some good talk there out on the pitch as we get set for this one here today. For Costa Rica, Maria Bermudez, their number 1, will still be in goal. Nice addition. They rested Shirley Cruz last game for the majority of the game. She didn't get the start, but the captain is back in the lineup today, Lori.
And alongside number 10, Shirley Cruz, it's going to be 11, Rocky Rodriguez. She leads this Costa Rica team with 3 goals in this tournament. The 2 of them in the midfield are going to dictate the tempo, whether to speed it up or slow it down. They're going to need to be on the same page to be able to break down Canada's stingy defense.
Last minute preparations and pep talks for these two squads. Will the rosters fill out like this? It's 20-player rosters for all the teams here in Concacaf Women's Olympic Qualifiers. 3 of those spots going to goalkeepers, but on both sides, some really good additions that they can bring off the bench. We look forward to seeing how both of these coaches utilize their bench throughout the course of this 90. Lori, you've been in this spot before as you played in the 2012 Concacaf Women's Olympic Qualifiers. These last-minute pep talks, those pats on the backs, those deep breaths, all have to steady yourself for this amazing opportunity.
It's about calming the nerves, and this is what you've worked for. This is the excitement. You're still nervous no matter how many times you've taken this field, but you know it's win or go home. You want to get the W tonight, but it's also about managing the game, managing these first 10 minutes. Can you put the other team under pressure?
We're underway here in Carson, California. Thanks for joining along with us. I'm Jordan Angeli alongside former U.S. Women's National Team legend Lori Lindsay. Costa Rica in the all-white kits, Canada in the red kits. It's going to be a great semifinal match. Here, it's all on the line. You win, and you are going to the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Good look at Canada's head coach, Kenneth Heinermoller. Took over 3 years ago in January, and his squad has run through the tournament so far, getting that #1 spot in Group B. And they have been scoring goals, 22 to be exact. They're right away attacking. Lawrence battles it out with Herrera. And Costa Rica gain the ball back. Here's Heidema, the golden boot right now. 6 goals on the tournament for Heidema. Lori, coming into this, let's start your expectations for Canada. How do you expect them to come out?
Well, exactly how they're coming out right now, which is looking to keep possession of the ball when they need to, but then also can they look to play in behind this Costa Rica defense? And also they've been extremely successful in that back or on the width. Can they find that width out wide and then whip balls in, giving Costa Rica a difficult time in their box?
Canada has been so comfortable on the ball in possession, shown a couple of different formations. Here's Zadorsky. Had a goal in the last game. She goes all the way through. Becky, her cross gets blocked. It was Lixie Rodriguez, the consistent rock there in the back line for Costa Rica, denying that service for Becky, which is key.
And this is exactly what Canada wants to do early on, is float these balls in behind. We see the space. Becky does a good job of keeping herself onside, timing her run, and then forcing that corner kick.
Becky's service, trying to target the head of their all-time leading international goal scorer, Christine Sinclair. Broke the record in their first game against St. Kitts. Now is hungry for more. This ball is going to go into the hands of Maria Bermudez, goalkeeper. Their number 1 pick for that woman, Amelia Valverde. Valverde has been with Costa Rica in various capacities since 2011, but took over as the head coach right before their trip, first ever time going to the Women's World Cup back in 2015. Has done a good job with this squad, as we see Stephanie Labe on the Canada side in the all yellow kit. Big foul there. And Sinclair got the worst of it. Waiting to see who was in the tackle with her, and it is Mariana Benavides. And that card is going to go to Christine Sinclair. Here's a look at the foul here.
And we see Christine Sinclair's arm just catch her face there. Both players going up for that challenge. Again, it's Canada looking to lump those balls in behind, seeing if they can put Costa Rica under pressure here early on. Unintentional, but at the same time, looked like there was a cut above her eye.
And Benavides there comes in, and this is what you're taught as a player, going up for head balls to protect yourself, bring your arms up, and that's the result. And I don't think it's I think maybe a card there is appropriate for Sinclair, but a necessary challenge for both of those players. They know how important that space in the field is going to be, as Benavides still gets some treatment there. How much does that change? Let's talk about the yellow card really quick as we just wait. Benavides gets some treatment here and gets assessed for a potential concussion after that hit to the head. A yellow card in Sinclair, does that affect the way that she plays at all?
Well, she has to be mindful of this yellow card. So yes, sometimes she might not go up as aggressive as she usually would, but at the same time, she has been in this game for so long. She understands how to manage it. She knows how to read certain plays. She's smart enough player to be able to decide not to get herself into trouble and cost her team any more, putting our team in any sort of difficult situation going forward. I think this actually suits Costa Rica more, able to regain. We're only 5 minutes in, but at the same time, Canada being able to dictate tempo, string a few passes together and get that early corner kick. So can Costa Rica calm things down, stick to their game plan, making sure they try to get on the ball as much as possible. And we talked about finding Rocky Rodriguez and Shirley Cruz, getting them into the game early on. This break gives them a little bit of a chance to regroup.
And it gives a chance for Mariana Benavides there, the 25-year-old, to regroup herself. She's been instrumental in the way that Costa Rica has played. Started the first 2 matches, was a substitute in the last matches. Costa Rica made 7 changes in that last match to give some players rest. But a remarkable thing there, Lori, that's only in 2 decades of play for Canada. That's Christine Sinclair's 10th yellow card.
And how good she is in the air is remarkable. But again, it shows what a class act she is, how she knows how to manage the game. She's not dirty. She puts herself in good positions. she's the one that's usually getting the yellow cards against her.
And we'll see how much that affects Benavides, as that cut is close to her eye and she has the treatment over there. Just hope her vision isn't too affected by that. Janine Becky gets it sent back in. Fleming now on the ball. So crafty. Schmidt. Play it all the way back to Zadorsky. Zadorsky scored her second goal of her international career in the last game. It was a center back to center back combination. Here's Sinclair. Now Lawrence, runners in the box. Chapman cleans it up. Ashley Lawrence, Canada's 2019 Female Player of the Year. Played more minutes than any other player did Ashley Lawrence. She's just hanging out on the top of the box, eager for a cross.
And Jordan, you got to think this is Costa Rica's game plan. We can see how many numbers they have behind the ball. Stay compact, don't give any early opportunities away. First few minutes of this game, we saw Canada floating those balls in. They saw the space in behind that Costa Rica defense. And after that injury to Benavides, you can tell they regroup, stay compact, don't give any of that space away.
Heidema doesn't quite connect with Becky, and it's going to turn over to Costa Rica. Now going into this game, Costa Rica has had to have watched Canada play through Group B play. It's one of the things you were talking about, is how do you adapt to all the numbers that Canada can get forward for Costa Rica? Is it what you just said, just the numbers, or is it how important are these moments in possession?
Well, the moments in possession are incredibly important in the fact that you need to be able to keep the ball. Canada has the ability to be able to send players forward and attack in numbers. So once you win it, you got to take care of it. And it's this player right here, Rocky Rodriguez, on the ball, along with Shirley Cruz. They're the ones that are going to need to dictate this tempo, because they don't want to find themselves chasing this entire game, especially against the likes of Heidema and Sinclair up top, players that they can send forward.
Crunching tackle by Catherine Alvarado there. She plays in that holding mid-6 position for Costa Rica, and she does a little bit of the dirty work there, just denying Ashley Lawrence from any way of getting around her there, really. Janine Becky, the native of Littleton, Colorado, close up of her there, standing over the ball. Becky has options on the far post. She decides to go there. It's just beyond Buchanan. Cleared away off of that first line for Costa Rica. Here's Buchanan. Now Lawrence to Chapman. Her cross, top of the box. Heidema's there, but numbers for Costa Rica in the right place. That's a foul there on Zadorsky. And that's a good look at Maria Paula Salas, a center forward for Costa Rica, 17 years old. But her play is one of the players you said she's going to be instrumental in how Costa Rica plays today.
She is going to be instrumental in the fact that she needs to be able to hold the ball. And in that case, Zadorsky does a good job. Why not take that foul? Let her be known, Salas, know that she's there, not going to give her any easy outs. At the same time, if Salas can hold on to that ball, allow for more Costa Rican players to get up the field, that's going to give them a better option going forward.
Good high press there, right on cue from Salas and Herrera. You had Rodriguez trying to take off the other option. Numbers for Costa Rica now here, trying to defend higher up their own field. Rodriguez Gets one out by Lawrence.
And I love that ball. Canada's had so much success out wide this entire tournament. Can they continue to switch the point of attack, spring those players like Becky or Lawrence, see if they can get free?
Lori, right away, we've seen Canada play in a couple different formations. What are you noticing from them as they start to build up here?
Well, they're picking and choosing their times. When they can spring balls forward and get in behind, they're looking for it. But at the same time, when Costa Rica gets numbers behind the ball, they're patient. They're not forcing anything right now. They're also playing with only 3 in the back, allowing for more numbers to get forward. We're seeing Becky out wide. There's a lot of fluidity with those 5 to 6 players up top for Canada.
Scott wins it, as she does numerous times for this Canadian squad, for 152nd cap. Some experience centrally for Canada. Sophie Schmidt and Desiree Scott, the 2 next players with the most caps, alongside Christine Sinclair, who has the ball now. It's Sinclair. Fleming just can't thread that ball.
And this is something we're going to see all game from Canada. Sinclair in that typical number 9, that center forward position, but she does like to check back to the ball, allowing for Fleming to be able to make those runs out of the midfield, penetrating runs. And they've had a lot of success when the 2 of them have had to interchange. And to break down a team like Costa Rica, who's most likely continue to sit back in a tight block as this game continues on, they're going to need to have those runs from Fleming and the other midfielders from Canada coming out from those deeper positions.
Sinclair's touch gets blocked twice by those numbers you just spoke to for Costa Rica. Heiner Moeller, the 7th coach in Canadian history for Valverde. She's trying to be the first head coach in Central American history to make it to the Olympics. This ball in, Heidema skips past her head, and she ends up, she was offside, but the wide play, so key for Canada.
And I believe it was oh no, it was Heidema. I thought it was Chapman that was the one that was offside in that little combination play on this near side. But Heidema's so good in the air, always sitting on that back shoulder of the defenders, looking to see if she can create. And that's a fantastic position for her to get on, especially when they're whipping balls in from the width.
Do you mind that offside?
No, absolutely keep going. Early on in this game, you're having the majority of the possession. You want to be able to continue to stretch, see if you can pull this Costa Rican team out of this tight shape. And you do that by always continuing to be on that back shoulder and whip balls in and make it dangerous, especially in the box.
It's a really good point. There's offsides that just kind of bug you as a player, but that one where you're pressing the back line and you're trying to sneak in behind is one of those where you're encouraging, especially a player as young as that, to keep finding that timing.
And Heidema, 6 goals on this tournament, leads the qualifications in goals. I mean, what you're doing is serving the ball in to Heidema with her height, getting her on the end of that and letting her take her chances. And to me, that is a striker who is feeling confident, who is constantly looking to put herself into position to score goals.
Yeah, her last name really speaks to her height well, right? Her family did a good job with that Heidema. So many puns that can be worked on there. Right here, Canada working the right side. Heidema. Cleared away by Costa Rica. That second ball picked up by Zadorsky. Becky presses Rodriguez, wins the ball back. Can she save it? Nearly.
And I think the one thing that Canada needs to be careful of is that they don't get impatient and just start lumping balls into the back line and allowing for Costa Rica to be able to just clear them and then pick up the second ball. Nothing dangerous has come of that from Costa Rica being able to clear the ball, but at the same time, Canada, first 15 minutes here, they need to make sure they're just switching the point of attack, having that interchange, little combinations, but keeping the ball moving quickly And if players can take on 1v1 or even a quick little combination play to break them down, that's how you're going to beat a tight block sitting back defensively.
Well, Raquel Rodriguez doing the most there to help her team move up the field. Some nice footwork by her through the midfield. Now Cruz and Rodriguez press high up the field. They're going to win the ball back. Exactly the outlets you have been talking about for Costa Rica. Lixie Rodriguez, one of a number of players for Costa Rica playing for Codilla in their home country. Rodriguez played a bit in Spain, but has since come back to Costa Rica. Good look at Sophie Schmidt. Has started every match for Canada in this tournament. Becky double teamed, and Chinchilla is gonna be offside for that one. These teams have met numerous times before. This is the 14th all-time meeting between them. But you have to think that there's a little added extra, desire in this one, as they have met now 2 times in a row in this Concacaf Women's Olympic qualifying semifinal. For Costa Rica, they know they're right there. They're so close to qualifying. So far, doing a good job of containing the high power offense of Canada. Gabriela Guillen draws a foul. She's holding her arm right there.
And here's a tough challenge, and then Chapman looks like she wins the ball, but it's Guillen's momentum and that little nudge there by Chapman that sends her to the ground. But to your point, I mean, across the board in this CONCACAF Olympic qualifiers, in women's soccer in general, we're seeing teams elevate, more resources being put in, so every team is getting better. The little nuances we're seeing. Rocky Rodriguez plays in the NWSL. I mean, players are playing at a higher level, and so these games are becoming more and more competitive, and it really is about finding and managing the game overall. Canada, yes, has had more of the possession so far, but at the same time, how are they going to break this team down? Can they be patient enough to find those little balls in between that's going to break something free to find the back of the net?
And before the tournament, had an opportunity to listen to a conference call and a conversation that we got to have with head coach Kenneth Heiner-Moller, talking about his team and how they've developed since the Women's World Cup last summer. And that was a tournament. It's a big challenge on Buchanan as we speak there on Chinchilla. Gets called for the foul. But post that World Cup, they were disappointed. Not only did they not go as far as they thought they could have, this Canadian squad, but they left there not scoring as many goals as they felt that they were capable of scoring. So the emphasis was, hey, we're creating chances. This was what Heiner Mueller said. We're creating chances. Now we just have to put them away. And he said in the fall, it was almost like they were pressing the game too much, and that it felt too pressured in the attacking third. But this tournament has allowed them to find that light and a little bit more lightheartedness going forward, where they can break a team down. Exactly to what Heiner Mueller said. He said it's been incredible in moments. You can hear him talking in the background there to his players. That ball went out of bounds.
And that's unfortunate there, because this is a better play from Costa Rica. That initial outlet pass picked off by Canada, but then they regain possession, play the simple pass. And as this game wears on, that's what you're going to do. Find the simple pass, see if they can at least bypass that initial defensive line of Canada, break some players free, get some numbers moving forward. Because the last thing that's going to break this Canada team down is just by attacking with one player. They've got to go in numbers. They've got to get players underneath the ball. We've talked about Cruz and Rodriguez and how important they are in that midfield. But once they win the ball and keep possession, those are the players that they're going to need to help support.
Right there, that could have been the chance for Costa Rica to spring something forward. Just nick a little touch there. Herrera with some good pressure defensively for Costa Rica. Now they're back in their block as Canada swings it from left to right. Janine Becky has had one of the best assists in this tournament. Their second game against Jamaica. Chapman brings in Lawrence. Lawrence will play the ref, but Heidema will keep it. Chapman's ball finds Becky. She had Sinclair, but Costa Rica making those gaps so small for Canada to play through. Fleming in some good space. Sinclair. Good counter press from Canada. They win the ball back high on their field. Numbers in the attack. Lawrence. Now Zadorsky looking for Fleming. She wins the first head ball, but Cruz clears it long. There's a lot of talk about Christine Sinclair and how important she is to this Canadian squad through her 2 decades of play, but you could almost say the exact same thing about Shirley Cruz and how important she has been for Costa Rica. Maybe not on the goal scoring side, but their leadership and how they've helped their country and women's soccer within their country grow.
It is unbelievable. 34 years old, Shirley Cruz, just her longevity, her ability. I mean, we saw her, the volley that she scored off the corner kick in the group play was just unbelievable. Goal of the tournament, you could argue. But her ability to continue to help this Costa Rican team get more on the world stage and then can really compete against some of these powerhouses. And so far, 25 minutes into the game, 0-0 with Canada. And this is exactly where Costa Rica would want this game to be, is to make sure that they've stayed tight, make it difficult for Canada to get any good looks on goal, and then be able to break out from there. The longer they keep this 0-0, the more it plays into the hands of Costa Rica. Frustrates Canada.
Exactly right there, Lori. Becky stands over it as you see Bermudez in goal, organizing her team. Bermudez sat out the last game. She was one of those 7 changes. Now she'll have some work to do here. Becky decides to chip it, but Bermudez says, thank you very much. That's an easy save for me. Rodriguez, chased down by Fleming. For Costa Rica, they got here in Group A. They won their first game 6-1 against Panama. Then they beat Haiti 2-0. Haiti did a really good job all tournament of just being disruptive. They challenged Costa Rica in that one, and then it was a tough last game of group play for Costa Rica, having 6 goals go in against the United States to lose 6-0. That's with a team who made 7 changes, knowing that this was an important game and hopeful that those changes would give them that extra leg to do this work that you've been talking about here, Lori.
I think the one thing that you hit on there, Jordan, is the fact that a common theme that we've been hearing.
We'll get back to that theme because here comes Costa Rica. They keep the ball through Cruz, and now it's Alvarado. Herrera. Guillen has Rodriguez. Rocky Rodriguez. She is so dangerous within the 18. Rocky Rodriguez, the only player on this Costa Rican squad who has scored in the semifinals of this tournament. She tried to do it again here.
And this is why I was saying the more this game goes along and it's 0-0, the more it plays into Costa Rica's hands because they start to get confidence knowing that they can play with Canada. And it's Rocky Rodriguez. We've seen her time and time again at the professional level, at the international level, being able to score half chances, gets herself into a good position. Can't get that one on frame.
Rodriguez definitely a player that Costa Rica looks to find the back of the net. She currently sits on 43 international goals. She scored the 1 goal Costa Rica had the last time these two teams met in Concacaf Women's Olympic Qualifiers back in 2016 in the semifinal. The score was 3-1. Well, Rocky Rodriguez had the 1 for Costa Rica. Canada beats 1 tackle. Sinclair trying to bring in Haidema. Now Costa Rica with some space in front of them. It's Crescia Chinchilla. Given away, Rodriguez goes from distance. Trying to challenge Labe. Why not?
Why not? Absolutely. And that goes back to my previous point about the theme throughout this tournament, which is adaptability. We've heard a lot of these coaches talk about that, fluidity and adaptability and their ability to make changes throughout the game. And you mentioned it earlier, Jordan, about Costa Rica playing against the U.S., but resting a ton of players to be able to get ready for this semifinal match. We've seen Canada have a number of different starters, especially in the attacking third, being able to play depending on what the game needs. And that is the evolution, not only in this tournament, but also in women's soccer in general, to be able to adapt, be able to play different players. And we're seeing that play out here in this tournament.
It's going to be a yellow card for that challenge from Alvarado. Alvarado, a key player in the way that Costa Rica wants to attack, with Rodriguez and Cruz sitting in front of her. Alvarado's ability to hold that space, disrupt play from her opponents, brings about yellow cards sometimes. Right there, she takes one for the team. Benavides, a big challenge with Christine Sinclair in the 4th minute. The reason why Benavides has that big wrap on her face. Sinclair getting a yellow card in that challenge. So 1 yellow card apiece for these two squads. And ball possession nearly even, a little bit in favor of Canada, 56-44. Fleming, good turn from her, and she brings in Becky. 2 runners in the box, deflected well by Rodriguez. Man, she is so essential for Costa Rica.
And quality attack there by Canada, noticing that they can hit Costa Rica on the break. Costa Rica a bit more stretch in between the lines. Quick 2 passes breaks them down. Rodriguez doing a good job of being able to get a foot on that to allow that to keep it out of dangers. Because we've seen Canada have their most success by whipping those balls in from the likes of Becky, the likes of Haidema, who's ever playing out in the width area, whipping balls into Sinclair and Fleming, who are on the break into the box.
This is the longest in this qualifying tournament now. Canada has gone without scoring a goal. They put 11 away against St. Kitts in their first game, 9 against Jamaica in the second game, and then Mexico, they scored in the 26th minute to get that scoring underway, as they ended up beating Mexico 2-0. So if you're Amelia Valverde, you have to be happy with the way your team has performed in these first 30 minutes.
We knew Canada was going to come out, try to get an early goal if they could, put you under a ton of pressure. It's about weathering that storm, making sure you stay tight, and that early foul on Sinclair on Benavides allowed Costa Rica to be able to regroup in those first 5 minutes, making sure that they stay compact, and that was to their benefit, being able then to get numbers behind the ball and then look to see if they can spring on a counterattack. And now, matching up well with Canada, you kind of feel that Canada has kind of lost their way in terms of being able to keep possession or really finding any good opportunities in this game.
Christine Sinclair taking the worst of it there from Stephanie Blanco. Canada will get back on the ball. This is where these games are so important, when it gets down to these best 4 teams in Concacaf. Lori mentioned it. How do you adapt? How do you still implement your style of play with a team that is defending you differently?
And already in this game, we're seeing Sophie Schmidt, number 13, has popped into the midfield. She was on that back line in the back 3 earlier, but it looks like Lawrence has popped out wide right. And again, just making some adjustments that are needed in this game. Sophie Schmidt allowing a little bit more of a defensive presence, comfortable on the ball to help dictate tempo. You have Desiree Scott in there, that nicknamed the Destroyer. She's going to hold down defensively, so can you spring more players forward, create numbers up situation.
Chapman into the box, gets challenged there. Benavides not afraid of confrontation, and that's going to be a foul there on Chapman. Bermudez is not a stranger to some tough challenges. In the 2018 Concacaf Women's Championships, she just gets a knock there straight to the head. But Bermudez in the 2018 Concacaf Women's Championship broke her arm, pretty brutal break, as she came out for a ball for her team. She is a courageous goalkeeper right there. She's taking a knock and a side of a head. Good to see right away the play stop and for medical attention to be given straight away. Captain Shirley Cruz talking to Lucilia Vengas Montez. But you just mentioned it, Canada having a chance there to switch formations, going from more of a 3-5-2 to a 4-3-3 or potentially a 4-4-2. And how important that foul was in the first 4 minutes for Costa Rica. Can this time right now for Canada be just as vitally important in figuring out how they're going to attack here in these last 10, 12 minutes?
Yes, and we've already seen the coaching staff talking to Chapman. She's doing a good job of getting forward, but how can she continue to create more? Can she look to combine with Sinclair? But anytime that you can make tactical and positional and personnel changes without actually having to make a sub is to your benefit. So being able to move Schmidt into the midfield, someone that is more accustomed to playing in that central role, is always an added bonus to your team. And for Canada to be able to make those adjustments,
and that's key too, right? That's a 17-year-old in Maria Paula Salas talking to head coach Amelia Valverde. And Raquel Rodriguez, with her experience, yes, she's only 26 years old, but she has played in the Women's World Cup. She has been the Herman Trophy winner in college soccer. So much experience there, giving her that right away, some feedback. So we take a look at Bermudez as she gets some treatment here.
and that's what you love about these qualifications as well, because it does mean so much, but it is also an international opportunity. Only two teams go to the Olympics. So for some of these other teams, it's about building for the future. We've seen Mexico come into this qualifications after missing the 2019 World Cup, coming in with a younger squad, giving those players international experience. Costa Rica, a younger squad. They have a 17-year-old in Salas. Talk about Rodriguez only being 26, but she's a leader on this team. And so to be able to have given that experience, but then also be able to have that confidence to compete against one of the best teams in the world here against Canada is only going to continue to raise your confidence and raise the level of play in your country.
Maria Bermudez there just finishes her evaluation. It looks like she will be able to continue, but just to remind you, there are two goalkeepers available on the bench for Costa Rica. Dinia Diaz, 24-year-old, plays for Saprissa. She has yet to play in this qualifying tournament. Precia Tapia, 28-year-old goalkeeper, also playing in Costa Rica. She did play last game against the United States, so if they need to make a goalkeeping change, maybe that's the route they go. But for right now, Bermudez is able to continue. Rodriguez plays that one through. It's just out of the reach of Melissa Herrera. early, and Sinclair is going to chase this one down. It goes out of bounds in favor of Canada. Heidema. There's Schmidt, the player you said, moved from more of a center back position into the midfield. And Scott brings in Lawrence. Patience here from Canada as they make Costa Rica shift from side to side, doing a lot of defensive work. Lawrence with some space, has Fleming, loves to be on the half turn. Lawrence continues her run, she's gonna get it here. Cross gets deflected, great work there by Costa Rica. Tough challenge on Fleming, from Fleming. We'll see if that's all we see of it, as Rodriguez gets up and is not happy about that.
But this is what you expect to see in a game that's so important. Olympics on the line, teams coming in. That looks like a good challenge, a good win by Fleming. Times that perfectly to win that ball, and then Rodriguez is the one that catches the legs of Fleming and takes herself out there. But I like that previous attack by Canada. We saw Lawrence get into the attack combined with Becky, something that we didn't see the first 30 minutes of this game with Schmidt, because she's not a typical winger, someone that's going to use her pace to get up and down that field.
Also, to your point, Canada has three assists this tournament from that internal outside back run, linking up with the winger. So having the winger utilize that space in that inside run from the outside back, it's a place where they can thrive.
It's difficult to defend. Players running at the back line, there has to be precise communication from the defensive team.
That was a look by Shirley Cruz. Not happy with the contact there from Schmidt.
You could sense the frustration, both of these teams. Not a ton of rhythm in the game. Had some fouls or some minor injuries with some tackles. It's become a little bit of a choppy game. And you're starting to see that even more so in this play.
Each time a girl joins football, the world takes a strike towards equality. If you empower a girl, you empower a community to fight for their dreams. Concacaf W, we belong. Benavides with that challenge in the 4th minute. Has her continuing play, but with that head wrapped, it hasn't seemed to impede her play. And Rocky Rodriguez gets taken down by Chapman, and that's in a really dangerous spot. Rodriguez drawing a foul, and Chapman drawing a yellow card.
And Rodriguez has done a good job inserting herself into this game, just being opportunistic, picking up these second balls. That looks like a good challenge by Elisa Chapman coming in. Oh no, doesn't get any of the ball, excuse me. Takes Rodriguez out, but that is where Rodriguez is gonna thrive, being able to dribble at players, dribble at the back line.
Chapman earning a yellow card with that challenge there. And now Canada will have to defend this. Good spot for a free kick here. So you see the little smirk from Shirley Cruz and her time, her 14 years in France, whether it was with Lyon or PSG. She stood over a numerous amount of free kicks. Cruz is gonna let it go though. Alvarado and Chinchilla now over top of it. Runners at the back post. Chinchilla runs over it. Alvarado cleared away by Buchanan, and then Fleming does enough to just beat that second wave. The deflection in favor of Canada. That touch by Sinclair. How important is that? She does a lot, But the little things that I think go unnoticed is just that. She connects under pressure when her team needs it the most.
And that's what Canada needs more of these last few minutes of this first half and also going into the second. Is this team has a ton of international experience. They played a ton of big games, and you would like to see them be even more clinical with their play, with connecting with passes, the combination. It's a good one-touch ball there by Schmidt, just to see if she can break Fleming free. But again, then they're losing the ball, and it's right back into the hands of Costa Rica, and it's playing right into the hands of Costa Rica in terms of being able to look to see if they can spring Rocky Rodriguez, and if not, they're doing a good job of getting those numbers behind the ball, waiting for the turnovers, because Canada's not being patient enough or connecting enough passes.
Canada will win it back here. See if either team can use those last 3 minutes here to break the score. 0-0. Only a few yellow cards to note here in the first 45. Sinclair in the 4th minute. Alvarado for Costa Rica in the 29th, and then Chapman just recently in the 40th as a tough challenge by Zadorsky on Salas. The youngster gets the worst of that, and that's something we've seen all tournament. She is not afraid to put her body on the line to draw a foul for her team.
And with a player that's asked to be able to hold the ball up as much as possible, you want that from your number 9, your center forward. And with a team that has so many numbers, or committing so many numbers behind the ball defensively, she's got to at least be able to commit herself to hold up play to be able to bring other players into the attack with her.
Good look at Maria Palasalas playing for Korea in Costa Rica. Here's Alvarado. Driven ball gets headed away by Canada. Sinclair connects. Brings some more players in. Oh, here's Sinclair. Almost made something out of that 1v4. Chapman utilizing some space to dribble into. Sinclair and Fleming are two players who they know where each other are all the time. It just hasn't been that perfect connection between them yet. Here's Sinclair again. This time looking for Becky. Cleared far away by Alvarado.
And credit to Costa Rica. Nothing's come of it in the attacking third, but doing a good job of committing those players behind the ball, winning that first ball, and then getting players in positions to win that second ball as well, keep it out of danger.
Smooth turn by Heidema. She's in the box. It's a good-looking cross. But the only player that was there was Stephanie Blanco.
And 3 players for Canada making that exact same run. No one holding that run, waiting for that slip ball back on top of the 18-yard box or the penalty spot.
That's a really good point, Lori, and maybe speaking to that idea of pressing the game too much. And in the attacking third, the opportunities, like Heiner Moller has said, are there, but it is how do we find a way to be smarter in those opportunities? And it's just varying the runs.
Varying the runs, and it looks like I really like this squad for Canada. They have a number of players playing extremely high level, crafty players, players with athleticism, players that know their roles for this team. But you get the sense right now in this first 45 minutes that they're losing their way in terms of somebody that's really wanting to take this game and solidify that they want to make it to Tokyo. And that starts with sometimes just seeing what this game needs. And once they get the ball out wide, how can we vary our runs? How can we commit players into the game or into the box, but at the same time slowing things up and having a trailing runner?
And it's so interesting, too, because in these heightened games, you want that kind of experience. And all but one player on this squad out here for Canada was a member of that team in the 2016 Olympics who won the bronze medal. So the experience is there. It's how do they put it together here in these 5 minutes of first half stoppage time. We're ticking into the second one as Canada continues to attack down the right side. A dangerous clear by Blanco. It looks like it's going to end up as a throw-in, but nearly made her team in these waning moments have to defend a corner kick where Canada is so good, has so many targets. Avoid that. But Canada still has possession. Heidema. Her cross gets blocked. Costa Rica, every number back defensively, minus that one outlet in Salas. Becky plays it early this time. Schmidt's behind Sinclair. She won't get it, but Chapman will. Look at all those numbers for Costa Rica. Back post. Fleming lets it go. Heidema. It's going to be a call against Canada. But that had the look of just making it difficult right in the middle, and Heidema floating free. How can you leave the leading goal scorer in this Concacaf Women's Olympic qualifying wide open on the back post?
Well, that's an area where Costa Rica needs to be careful, because if they start to ball watch once they get tired, and when Canada is patient with the ball and switching the point of attack, keeping possession, that's when they can catch Costa Rica, is that weak side. And as you mentioned, Jordan, Heidema completely wide open. Fortunately, a foul or offside, unsure what the final call was.
Great moves there by Shirley Cruz. Calm and composed under pressure. Her team is going to give it away, though. Numbers flying forward for Canada. Costa Rica, a minute and a half left to defend here to keep it 0-0, but Becky's shot to the near post. Bermudez there to cover. Just like that, Canada can get after you.
And well done by Becky. She's had a ton of success on that right-hand side. Cuts inside. Blanco too far off. Doesn't commit to her defensively. Allows Becky for that free shot. Not enough on it, though, to cause any trouble for Bermudez. Again, those are the moments where Canada can have the most success. Realizing that Costa Rica stretch has looked to try to counter, or not in a deep defensive shape. Quick two passes can break them down.
Into the last minute here of stoppage time. Costa Rica gonna have to defend another free kick, but if they keep the score here 0-0, this is the first time that Costa Rica has held Canada scoreless in any competition, in any game that they've played against each other since the Women's World Cup qualifying in 2010. So big moments here. It's so important for Costa Rica to defend this properly. Everything on the line, these two teams fighting for Olympic qualification. It's a poor ball by Becky. And now Rodriguez is off to the races. But in the end, Lawrence took the better angle and wins that one easy. Here's Rodriguez. Lixie Rodriguez thought she drew a foul, but it's gonna be the end of the first half. Lori, what a match. Thoughts going into halftime here from that one?
Well, not at all what we thought. I mean, Canada comes out strong those first 5 minutes. Then Benavidez goes down, allowing for a little break for Costa Rica to regroup, and that's exactly what they did. Canada loses their way a bit, can't find and string passes or really cause any danger, and Costa Rica holding them 0-0 for the first time in a semifinal match.
These two teams have 15 minutes to figure out how to break this 0-0 stalemate at halftime. We'll be back. Stats, highlights of the first 45 just after this. first semifinal here at Dignity Health Sports Park in Carson, California. Costa Rica on the right, Canada on the left. Well, it was all smiles before the beginning of the match, but this was a physical 45 minutes here, and it all started with this. Sinclair getting in a big tackle with Benavides.
And early on, we saw Canada play more direct, looking to play balls in behind that back line of Costa Rica. A few fouls, though, here would dictate and change the course of this game, allowing Costa Rica to get in. And after that, it would be a fairly choppy game, not much rhythm for either team.
For Costa Rica, this is their best chance of the game.
And Rocky Rodriguez was a player that we pointed to in the starting lineup for Costa Rica. She can get in these half chances, create stuff for herself, goes to the ground to try to get this one on frame, but not enough to get anything past LeBay.
Another big challenge here as Bermudez gets hit in the head by Chapman. Just some really physical play by both sides, which makes sense, right, Lori? There is so much on the line here. You win this match, you book your ticket to the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Bermudez able to continue playing after that as she was evaluated there. Fleming with a strong tackle. And this all disrupted the way that Canada wanted to play.
Well, as long as Costa Rica was allowed to get into the game, again, it became more physical. Not either team really being able to string very many passes together. And again, not many quality chances on goal for either team as well. But you can see the emotions are high. Both teams wanting to get themselves in. I mean, it's win or go home at this point in time.
Rodriguez doing a good job of getting that first opportunity, drawing the foul here. The free kick not doing enough to give Costa Rica a shot on goal. But Salas, number 17 for Costa Rica, was a good target player for them. And Costa Rica did enough of just disrupting the rhythm of Canada in those first 45. But they had a lot of defending to do, and this was a late chance, but a good one by Becky.
And Blackadoza's step tight enough to Becky, allowing her to cut into that left foot. It sends that right to Bermudez.
This match, possession slightly in favor of Canada, but when you look at the shots, it's really been a game that's been played between the two 18s.
Neither team with really quality chances, and again, it was disrupted in those first five minutes after a few injuries and a few hard tackles, and now the second half will be like, how can you manage those emotions, get the ball down on the ground, and really start to dictate the play and be more clinical.
We'll see what changes the coaches decide to make. Second 45 between Canada and Costa Rica up next.
now? Can you hear me?
Welcome back to a beautiful night in Carson, California. 45 minutes already expired between these two teams, Canada and Costa Rica. It's 0-0. The first time these two teams have been scoreless at halftime when they faced each other since 2010. A whole decade. And Costa Rica sitting pretty here going into the second 45. They might be exactly where they want. For Canada, created a lot of chances. How do they capitalize? Thanks for joining us for this second 45, everybody. I'm Jordan Angeli alongside U.S. Women's National Team legend Lori Lindsay. Now, Lori, a lot of conversation between us at halftime. If you're Canada, what adjustments do you make here going into the second 45?
It doesn't look like they're going to be making any changes coming right out of halftime. At the same time, looking at the midfield, you have Schmidt and Scott in there. Did well enough in that first half, but as you look go into the second half and the winner go home, can they create even more of a presence going forward into the attack? I think you can bring in the likes of Grosso, add a little bit of more fluidity in that final third, and then also out of the back, we saw Alicia Chapman be able to get forward, but was there enough from her on that outside left-hand sides? You could bring in Revere. Is a more player to be able to get up in the attack.
Absolutely. I'm just going to say you got a good look at those custom boots for Christine Sinclair after she broke the international goal scoring record, scoring her 185th goal in all competitions for Canada against St. Kitts last week. Pretty cool boots she gets to wear because of that. But I like those subs. We'll see if Heiner Moeller decides that Lori Lindsay's ideas are maybe the same way he's thinking. We'll have to wait. We'll have to see. But for Bermudez, she hasn't been too challenged in net, but been steady enough so far for this Costa Rican squad. It's an important 45 minutes for them. These two teams met in the 2016 semifinal for Olympic qualifiers. Canada beat Costa Rica 3-1. Goals in that one coming twice from Sinclair and once from Deanne Rose, we've yet to see yet. And then for Costa Rica, Rodriguez got the only goal. Janine Becky gets fouled there by Rodriguez. It was if you weren't with us for the first 45, it was an aggressive, physical 45 minutes. There is a lot on the line. If you win this game, you're going to the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. And for that woman, Amelia Valverde, and this Costa Rican squad, it would be the first time that they have ever qualified for the Olympics. So big moments here in Carson.
And a fantastic first half if you're Costa Rica, holding Canada 0-0, doing a good job of committing numbers behind the ball, being stingy defensively. Coming into the second half, though, can they continue to do that? Can they continue to stay compact but also commit numbers forward?
The flick by Sinclair is looking for the oncoming run of Fleming. Rodriguez clears the initial pressure, lets her team regroup. So for Costa Rica, you mentioned a couple changes that you would like to see for Canada. Do you think Costa Rica needs to make any immediate changes?
Keep going. Keep going with the game plan that you had in that first half. Very successful, good team game plan.
Heidema holds it up. Fleming, back to Heidema. Schmidt. Her cross gets headed away by Cruz, but Desiree Scott sits in that sixth spot. She's looking to pick up all of those free floating balls. The ball pops up and over the foot of Chapman, out of bounds.
And if you're Costa Rica, though, you've done a good job defensively. Now the evolution in this game is what we mentioned, which is committing numbers forward, taking those chances, picking and choosing those moments when you can commit more players forward into the attack. Because eventually you're going to have to take risks, try to get a goal.
And that's as we see Herrera getting the worst of that one from Scott there, drawing a foul for her team. Pick and choosing the times to go forward, but for Costa Rica, is there a time in the match where you think, okay, we have to go a little bit more? Or are they okay keeping it 0-0 as long as possible?
Well, it's a fine line. You want to be able to stay compact, not give anything away. We've seen Canada be successful when Costa Rica or other teams that they've competed against in this tournament get stretched, and they're able to find and hit teams on the break and the counterattack. And it's been more difficult for Canada when teams sit back, stay compact to be able to break them down. So continue to do that, but then as time goes, you got to commit those players, get Rocky Rodriguez involved. But it's just about managing and reading the game. Can they find those same seams? Right here, there's plenty of space for Canada getting stretched between that back line and midfield line.
Salas can't win that one.
But they've got to be able to hold up play. Salas has got to be able to hold that ball and allow for other players to get involved into the attack with her.
Ooh, that's going to be a stoppage of play there. The crowd groaned, but that ball hit Catherine Alvarado square in the face, and so much attention, as there should be, to head injuries. No time to react there for Alvarado, and it automatically goes down.
And you get the frustration from Heiner Moeller, the look on his face, knowing that that could have been a good moment for his team to catch Costa Rica on that quick counterattack. That has been the flow of this game. As soon as a team strings a couple passes together, there's a foul or a breakage of play. Neither team really be able to find that rhythm.
That is something that Canada has been searching for in this match so far, is that rhythm that they've felt throughout all qualifications. They've yet to find it here. Costa Rica loses it momentarily. Shirley Cruz doing the dirty work. Eventually turns it over. Now here's Becky. Ball outruns her though. You can see Emilia Valverde, the head coach for Costa Rica, there on the sideline, encouraging her team as Heiner Moeller standing on a little bit more pensive from him. Buchanan sends all the way back in her 99th cap for Canada. Buchanan has been a rock for them. Sinclair running onto this, but Bermudez makes sure she brings it into full safety, knowing that the best goal scorer in the world is chasing her down. Heidema. Heidema running onto this one. She's going to get a head on it. But nothing transpires from that attack. Gives you a little sense of what Jordan Heidema can do. She can come into the midfield and play make, but also is a good target for them. Currently playing over in France for PSG. Alongside teammate Ashley Lawrence, Heidema gives a different look up front for Canada.
Well, her height, her ability to get herself in positions to score goals, play off of Christine Sinclair, learn from Christine Sinclair, sets her apart. Haven't been able to find her enough. If Canada's more patient at the same time with purpose, they're keeping possession, they will be able to find some success on that weak hand side. Can catch Costa Rica, ball watching, get pulled out of their shape or pinched over to the strong side. So once they switch it, the space is to be had on the far side.
So you're saying space and patience and possession, but then when they decide to switch the point of attack, it must be quicker.
Absolutely, quicker. I mean, yes, you want to keep possession, but there also needs to be a purpose in why you're keeping possession, which is to try to pull Costa Rica out of your shape, and then at the last minute, can you pull it back, cut it back, and create a chance?
Becky running onto this one. Man, she nearly had it with a nice sliding play. She'll have to find her way back into defensive shape. Canada and Costa Rica still searching for a way to break this 0-0 score here. Oh, what a shot. Beautiful full moon. You can see the craters and everything in it. That's incredible. Good work by our camera crew. Sinclair getting taken out by Blanco. Blanco in just her 11th cap, just a 19-year-old, has been their choice left center back, and here taking a little too much out of Sinclair.
And tough challenge there by Blanco. But part of Costa Rica's game plan, making sure that they're tough in that initial tackle, trying to disrupt Canada, making it known that they're not going to make this game easy, keep possession when they want to.
Good move there from Chinchilla. Fleming pokes it out of bounds to her coach on the sideline, giving her a little bit of clap.
And that's an important point, because if you're coming into this game and you're Amelia Valverde and you want to hype your team up, get your team excited, one of the things you can do is making sure you can control the controllables, which is come in, get into those initial tackles hard, because Canada has found a lot of success with their possession in this tournament. At the same time, one way you disrupt that is by going into the initial tackles hard, not allowing them to be able to get free passes. And that's been successful in this game. They haven't been able to string passes. It's been difficult, and when they do, Costa Rica's made it predictable defensively for themselves by dictating the way that they press.
You're absolutely right. That's exactly, I was going to agree with you. Costa Rica done a really good job being disruptors, being destroyers in there.
Right now for Canada, just too predictable. Lumping balls in, easy for Costa Rica to be able to pick those first and second balls up, or too slow in possession. So can they get somebody on the field? Can you get Sinclair dropping back into the little midfield a bit more, having Fleming making those runs in behind?
Herrera pressing this one. Labe will have to send it out of bounds. That's a good sight of what Laura Lindsay was talking about, of picking and choosing moments to really go full out and press. And now Costa Rica with the ball. They're attacking third. It's in the hands of Guillen. 27-year-old currently playing for Saprissa in Costa Rica. Ball into the mix. Becky clears it of the first danger. Will chase this one down. Chinchilla gets there first. Now Rodriguez. Every minute of this tournament, Lixie Rodriguez has played for Costa Rica. She'll chase back now as everybody's chasing Jordan Heidema in some space. Heidema cuts it centrally, still has it. Heidema, the shot is blocked. Look at all the numbers from Costa Rica back in their own 18.
And this is one of the better plays in this second half from Canada. Heidema gets sprung forward on that right-hand side. And then initially too easy for her to be able to cut in. A lot of ball watching, no player stepping forward. Missed tackles. Looks like she's going to get a free shot, but then the last minute you see the numbers committed by Costa Rica to get behind the ball, making sure that there isn't a free look on goal or on Bermudez.
Heidema, the leading goal scorer in this qualifying tournament. We're going to get a foul against Canada. Well, if you're Costa Rica, that's not the player you want to be free heading the ball inside your box off of a corner kick. Buchanan, acres of space.
And this is what's going to separate Costa Rica going forward and continue the growth of this team, is when they're in the run of the play, doing a good job of managing defensively the other team, but then when it comes to set pieces, making sure you're not turning off Canada with some unbelievable set piece capabilities in the air and with their service.
Good pressure here by Herrera. Seems a little too nonchalant in the back line there for Canada. They almost paid for it. Herrera has been ready to pounce on any sniff of a back pass. She's been right there. So you hear her coach cheering from the sideline. Entering into the 60th minute of play.
And still plenty of time, but at the same time, if I'm Kenneth Heiner-Muller, I am making a substitution. I'm doing something to re-energize my team. Because right now, Costa Rica, when you look at this game coming into it,
Sinclair's on the ball here. Becky's in space. She tries to chop it back to Heidema. It's not a bad option, but just so well read by Costa Rica. Rodriguez brings it nicely off her chest. Buchanan wins the first ball. Rocky can't fight through that one.
if you're looking at this game as a whole, so far this is a win for Costa Rica. Coming in, knows it's going to be difficult to really get anything going in the final third against a tough Canadian team. In Canada, who's had a lot of success in front of their goal, not many opportunities.
That's a tough challenge there on Lawrence. Alvarado sitting on a yellow card already. Maybe her last talking to there by our center official, Lucila Venegas Montes. Chapman brings it into space. Becky off of her shin and just misses that near post.
And this is the ball watching that we were talking about from Costa Rica. This is how Canada can beat them. This is a fantastic early ball, bending ball in from Chapman. Becky does a good job of slipping in on that weak hand side, slipping past her outside defender. Takes a nasty bounce, so can't get anything around it or make a good contact on it.
You almost think that Costa Rica's line was just high enough that Becky had to hold her run, because if she's a foot closer to the goal, the bounce is way easier for her to handle.
Or do you take the opportunity to take a first touch and then look to play the ball back?
You tell
Again,
me.
game time decision.
Right?
You got to at least in that moment, with very few chances in this half and in this game in general, can you get that on goal? Can you get that on frame and make Bermudez come up with a save or at least give up a rebound?
Yeah, those are the make or break moments, right? The ones that put you through to the Olympics.
These are the moments when Canada is speeding up their play, when they're whipping balls in early. That's when they can catch Costa Rica. We've seen this a few times throughout this game already, catching them on that weak side. Just can't do enough to be able to find the back of the net or really challenge Costa Rica.
Becky gets away from the first challenge, can't connect there. And we were talking about subs for Canada. Nichelle Prince, an option for them. Adriana Leon, both options up top. In the midfield, Julia Grosso. They also have Deanne Rose. So a lot of goal scorers on the bench there for Canada as options, but right now they're going to keep it as it is. 63rd minute here. You started to feel a little momentum for Canada. Can they start to pull into that? Here's Sinclair. And away from her angle, Becky crosses it, gets flicked. Oh, what a good play by Costa Rica. Stephanie Blanco.
That was a massive flick by Blanco, just keeping it out of trouble, because good first time ball by Becky.
She's whipped in a couple assists during this tournament, has Becky into that space, and Blanco read it perfectly. Keeps her team without conceding a goal yet.
And again, we're seeing some of those inter-squad changes out in the field. Lawrence has popped back into the midfield on that last play. She was the one that played that no-look pass to Sinclair.
Heidema challenging Guillen there. We are going to see another look at this one first as Sinclair sends this back, and Heidema and Guillen, a little size different there, and this is our first substitution. It's going to be Jessie Fleming making way for Deanne Rose, the 21-year-old from Allison Ontario is going to come in. Rose, the University of Florida, had a little bit of a hamstring problem this year. Didn't play as many games as she would have liked to, but she's back now and scoring goals. Had a goal and 3 assists in that game against Jamaica. So she comes in from Fleming, and definitely a more attacking-minded substitution.
And regardless of who the player is, this is exactly what you want for Canada. Somebody that's just going to create some energy, some life going forward.
Well, look at this energy. Speed from Rose, trying to get to the end line. She'll take another long touch. The ball into the near post, cleared away by Blanco. It's going to be a corner kick for Canada.
And that's what you want to see from Canada. A player running at the back line, giving up free kicks, giving up corner kicks. Re-energizing this Canadian side.
Rose has been sitting on the sideline for 64 minutes. Can she be the difference maker here? Into the mix, right on the 6. That's cleared away by Costa Rica. Herrera with some good work. Hold up play. Just clear that second wave of pressure. Ball cleared well into the stands there. Heidema posts up, attracts some defenders. The work rate by Costa Rica defensively is just non-stop. It's a good looking ball to spring away from the numbers defensively for Canada. Chinchilla gets a little touch there. Salas keeps it. Now it's on the foot of the captain, Cruz. Now Costa Rica content with a little bit of time on the ball. They have been defending so much. Becky wins that ball. And Canada now with a chance to go the other way. Becky in space. Can she get there? She has runners. The ball whips in. A little touch by Bermudez. Schmidt up and over. Spectacular save by Bermudez.
And that is the much needed touch by Bermudez, because Chapman was creeping in on that far post. Would have been an easy put in from her. But again, it's down this right-hand side where Canada has had their most success. Another beautiful ball in by Becky. First time look. So difficult to defend. But it's that Bermudez touch that just slows the ball up, and Chapman's left running past it.
It's even impressive to me on that second angle there from behind the goal. You can see how quickly, after that touch by Bermudez, Costa Rica's already shifted over to deny the front post space for the shot from Schmidt. They have been so good defensively, cutting off the right spaces. Can they continue that here? What an effort they've put in.
And if you're Canada, that's what you have to recognize. They're so good on that initial pressure. So if you can break that initial pressure, then you're going to be able to find some time and space, because we've seen a few times in the second half alone, them get caught ball watching or going so hard in that initial tackle that they're left exposed on those far sides.
You see some of the Costa Rican substitutions on the sideline. Staying warmed up beyond Lixie Rodriguez. Valverde talked about before the game, Lori, about instilling a belief within this squad that they could come in here and they can get a result. Well, this looks like a squad who believes in just that.
They do, and it was about what we had mentioned earlier in this game, which is about controlling the controllables, doing what you can to disrupt this strong Canadian side. And at the same time, now they got to start to be able to commit numbers forward, because you're not going to get to the to the Olympics just sitting back, committing numbers behind the ball. You've got to start to spring players forward, seeing if you can take a few more risks.
They look like they were listening to you right there. Pasia, Chinchilla, and Herrera right there, pressing. Inside the mind of Amelia Valverde. She just oozes passion on the sideline. Rodriguez and Scott, two players that face up against each other often in NWSL. Scott for Utah Royals FC. Rodriguez now with the Portland Thorns. Just got traded there a couple weeks ago. She gets on the ball now. Rodriguez into space. She was offside. Oh, now we talked about offsides in the first half and how that offside wasn't as hurtful. That one right there is a hard one to handle.
Yeah, but this is a good little stream of play from Costa Rica, committing number of players forward, something that we said that they need to start to do. But the belief that Valverde has instilled in this team.
Herrera on the ball. Now Salas. Cruz picks it up. Chinchilla and Cruz. Poked away by Becky. Now Rose, the substitute, comes in but gets tackled by Shirley Cruz. Deanne Rose comes into this match, her 45th time representing Canada. 9 goals to her name. She was a part of that Olympic bronze medal squad in the last Olympics down in Rio. Rose had a goal in the 3rd, 4th place match to help Canada claim the bronze medal. So not only do you bring a sub on with goal scoring power, but in key moments. Here's Lawrence. She connects with Becky. Now Rose in space. Rose to the far post. Heidema off the post, and then it's in. Jordan Heidema with a massive goal for Canada in the 72nd minute. The leading goal scorer in Concacaf Women's Olympic Qualifiers does it again here, Lori.
And this is a fantastic goal by Canada. We see the amount of numbers, the commitment from Costa Rica, from that initial pressure that leaves Becky wide open, able to play Rose. No pressure on her, just slips this one across. And it's those little vertical passes in the wide play. And Heidema almost misses the goal. She can't believe it, but gets it enough on frame. And a fortuitous bounce back to her and then into the goal.
Pun intended on frame there, Lori. If she tries 100 more times, I don't think she does it again.
But again, that's the break they needed. And we've been talking time and time again, Jordan, about that initial pressure from Costa Rica, that if Canada is patient, they will be able to find those seams. And Becky does a good job of staying out of that play. They're able to find her, leaves her and Lawrence wide open, able to walk that one right in.
7th goal of the tournament for Jordan Heidema, the British Columbia native. Only 19 years old, plays her club soccer at PSG, but she's making her a name for herself in Canada over the last few years. Not a bad way to learn your skills under the shadow of Christine Sinclair. She puts a big goal away for her team there in the 72nd minute. Now this shot by Lixie Rodriguez is going to be taken off the chest by Labe. Now if you're Costa Rica, you have a chance here. Rodriguez, almost enough pressure there to put Labe under enough pressure. Now Costa Rica is gonna have to defend here. Becky gets tackled by Benavides. Haidema, the goal scorer, keeps the ball. Now if you're Costa Rica, you're down. You need a goal, Lori. What kind of changes do you make to be that spark that Rose brought to Canada, something similar to that?
You got to commit your players forward, but you got to commit them going together. You cannot get stretched. That's going to play right into the hands of Canada, being able to find space in between the lines. So can you press? Can you go harder to the ball, the initial ball, but at the same time, everyone going together. Force Canada to be able to only be able to play up in behind you.
First substitution for Costa Rica is going to be Maria Palasalas coming out, the 17-year-old. And going in for her, Gloriana Villalobos. Villalobos played her collegiate soccer at Florida State, won the 2018 national championship there. A spark for them whenever she's come off the bench. Started the last game against the US, was a substitute in the 2 previous matches. Can she add to the way that Costa Rica is trying to attack now that they are in need of a goal?
And on the other side, if you're Canada, going to start to find a bit more room. You imagine Costa Rica will get stretched, trying to send some numbers forward. But it's a fine line of making sure you have numbers behind the ball, not take any risks defensively, but keep the ball and also continue to find that second goal to try to solidify this match. And
Alvarado pushes it to Rodriguez. That ball by Chinchilla is not going to connect. Couple of turnovers there in the middle of the park, and now Canada out the far side. But just like that, they turn it over. Here's Villalobos' first touches. Guillen ends up dribbling it out of bounds. Second half has evened out the possession a little bit, 53% in favor of Canada. Really gives you a taste. This game, not a lot of opportunities on frame. Canada has not had the rhythm we've seen throughout the first part of this tournament, but when they needed to make it count, they found a way there. In the 72nd minute, Haidema putting the lone goal in. Scott now on the ball, has Becky, she's slipped to the left side. Chops it back across. Costa Rica still committed to their defensive effort. They can't lose it there. Scott has Rose centrally, it's gonna go over her head. Ball's gonna go in favor of Costa Rica here. 12 minutes left in this one. 12 minutes for Costa Rica to find an equalizer. 12 for Canada to see out the game. Right now, with this result, they would be going to 2020 Tokyo Olympics. But Costa Rica has been fighting throughout this whole match. Can't imagine they're going to give up now. So close, Lori. How do you change here? Any tactical changes that you think Amelia Valverde is looking at on her board there in order to figure out a way for her team to win? Or at what moment in time do you have to switch tactically?
Well, at this moment, you have to start to switch tactically. And that means just starting to play more direct, play with even more speed in your passes, vertical if you can, and getting numbers behind the ball. I mean, nothing different than what we've said. Just before, they had more time to be able to pick and choose because it was a 0-0 game. Now down, trailing by a goal. Still 11 minutes left to go. Plus, can you commit numbers forward? We see Rocky Rodriguez. More players have to go with her, though, if they're going to break this line, because Canada now feeling the possession, feeling confident, going up 1-0.
Rodriguez trying to keep it to this one side. Buchanan has an easy outlet to Becky.
And really credit to Costa Rica, though, throughout this game. Have made it extremely difficult for Canada to break them down in the second half. Not a ton going forward, but more possession. You mentioned it. That's evened out in this second half. They found some more possession to be able to find their players, especially Rocky Rodriguez. Not enough to test LeBay. But again, can they go with a little bit more speed? Find an equalizer here late.
Cruz. Now this ball in. Who's winning the second ball is the question here for Costa Rica. Guillen. Now Villalobos gets fouled by Chapman. Now this is in a good spot here for Costa Rica. Villalobos does exactly what she needed to do right there to put her team in a good spot for a set piece.
Does a good job of shielding this ball, and this is what Costa Rica is going to need to do. More direct, whip these balls in, see if they can get underneath and win those second balls. And on this one, whip this in. See if you can force Canada to cough it up, or at least get a good look on frame.
Rodriguez, a target in there for Costa Rica. Blanco, right there, number 15. It's another good target for them. Can they make the most of it here? Just about 8 minutes left. Alvarado sends it into the box. Sinclair wins the first one. Villalobos can't keep that volley on frame, and that was a good opportunity for her to make the most of her substitution.
And that's a good initial ball in, forcing Canada. They're all retreating back. Sinclair getting her head on it, but because they're running backwards, difficult to clear. Sends that one skyrocketing. But those are the second balls where Costa Rica, these last 8 to 10 minutes, can find some success if they start to play more direct, commit numbers underneath the ball.
And that's one of the players they want to find. Villalobos had 4 goals in Concacaf Women's Olympic Qualifiers. None yet this tournament. But for Villalobos, she knows how to pop up in the right time, in the right space, as Chinchilla here just pulls up. She got stepped on a little bit. Passion is not something Amelia Valverde lacks. Looking to inspire her squad as much as she can. Blanco stands over this one. She's trying to catch Canada retreating back, and she does all the way to the far side. Handled nicely. Costa Rica sends it in. Rodriguez was right there, headed away by Becky. Now Rose has some space. Nice little touch there by Schmidt. Becky, after making it clear on the far side, or in the penalty box, starts to orchestrate this play here. She's on the ball again. Scott. Now Rose. Rodriguez. Double teamed and Chinchilla wins it back. Finds Alvarado. Costa Rica in possession. Shirley Cruz so good at just spinning away from pressure and finding that next pass. Herrera and Guillen not on the same page. Costa Rica chase once more. Almost 5 left in this one. Sinclair. We'll let the substitute Rose do a little bit more of the running.
And Costa Rica, you start to see tired legs setting in, but still getting numbers behind the ball. Villalobos doing a good job since she's come into the game, just being an option, getting herself between the ball and the defender, drawing fouls.
That's a good look at Chinchillas coming out. Yasmin Elizondo coming in here for Costa Rica, 25-year-old forward. Her 4th cap. The 3 others, well, they're coming in this tournament. She is a newcomer to this Costa Rican squad and would love nothing more than to come up in a big way. It's a dangerous foul there from Herrera. She's gonna earn a yellow card from that one.
An unnecessary challenge here by Herrera. She knows it. LeBay doing a good job of just stepping in front, making sure she shields that ball out. Herrera knows it though.
Yeah, that's just a moment you're trying to do anything for your squad and just want the ball so desperately. Herrera has been keen to get on the end of those back passes and trying to make something happen. Less than 4 now in regulation. Canada can taste that bid to 2020 Tokyo. And Costa Rica here as of late, a couple chances, a really nice ball into the box with Rodriguez in the mix. Can they make something else happen here? Villalobos chasing down. Buchanan spins out of the initial pressure. Chapman does enough to win the ball back for a throw-in for her squad.
These are the moments when Costa Rica continue to keep those players up the pitch.
Cruz wins it back. Alvarado. Now they bring in Rodriguez. Elizondo on the ball, just came in. Trying to press and not foul. Pins Canada deep in their own end. Both teams with available substitutes still. So bring the captain back to win the first head ball. Costa Rica, they need a goal here to bring on extra time and keep their Olympic hope alive. Sinclair plays this one through. Becky chasing after it. She does enough to win the throw-in.
Blanco's been brilliant back there all game. Positionally, getting herself to intercept passes, but also just last-ditch efforts, making a play for her team, keeping it out of danger.
Substitute substitutes for Costa Rica up on their feet, cheering their teammates on here, as they know the effort the players on the pitch have put out here through 89 minutes. Heavy challenge there from Rose on Elizondo.
And this is when Costa Rica has to dig deep. They've got to send numbers forward. At this point in time, you're just taking risks. 3 minutes left to go. Can you get a half chance? And Canada just making sure, keep it out of danger. Don't give away any of those chances.
Heidema slows it down a little bit. Gets tackled by Guillen. It's going to be a restart in favor of Canada. The goal scorer, 7 goals for Jordan Heidema. This Concacaf Women's Olympic Qualifiers. The plan that woman created for her Costa Rican team, and the fight that they've had now through 90 minutes has to be noted. This is the first time since 2008, if the score holds how it is, that Canada defeated Costa Rica by just 1 goal. So this Costa Rican squad trending in the right direction. They still have time here. 3 minutes of stoppage added to the end of this one. Can they make a way here? Can they find a way?
If you're Canada and you're wanting to close out this game, all 4 going to the corner, but at the same time, the way that this is, some of the fouls that have been committed in this game, be careful, get out of this game without any injuries late in this second half. Don't risk anything with your players. If you need it to, just send this one into the stands, get players behind the ball and close it out that way.
Benavides sends it long. Last push here for Costa Rica. The challenge there on Guillen. Minute and a half left. Bermudez wanted to take it. I say let her take it. Send as many players forward. You need a goal here if you're Costa Rica to push extra time. Okay, Bermudez is gonna go. Good size. We've seen the courage from Bermudez. The crowd likes the look of this. Blanco's over top of it. The service has to be quality. It's in the mix. Buchanan wins the first one. Herrera into the body of Heidema. Now Rodriguez gets a little shot off, but can't get enough pressure on it. Oh, and she knew that was her chance.
But credit to Costa Rica, continue to fight, continue to execute the game plan that their coach Emilia Valverde set out for them in this game.
Becky from distance, over top of the goal. But now giving the ball back to Costa Rica. Little less than 30 seconds here. Can they figure out a way for one more opportunity?
And good look like from Becky, knowing where she is on the field, knowing where Bermudez is, off her line.
Not sure what that was. We wait to see from Lucia Venegas Montes what the call was. We're gonna see a drop ball. I think she just, not sure what happened there. We're gonna Play from a drop ball. Alvarado wins it. There's going to be some added time to this 3 minutes because of that confusion there. Costa Rica, one more shot. Lixie Rodriguez. Ball gets played out of bounds. And that's going to be it. Canada, in the 72nd minute, from their youngster, Jordan Heidema, finds a way to put the ball away, and they are advancing to Tokyo 2020. What a feeling, Lori Lindsay.
What a feeling is exactly right. Canada won't be happy with that performance overall, but did enough to get the win, headed to Tokyo 2020. Exactly what they wanted to do coming into this game. It's just about getting wins, then you can go to the back to the drawing board, figure out areas that you can improve upon. But huge credit to Costa Rica coming into this game plan. We're so stingy defensively, fought to the end. This is an exciting team, made it difficult for Canada to even get that second half goal. Really a bright future for the Costa Rican side.
Yeah, always bittersweet in these, right? Canada celebrating. They're going to the Olympics. Costa Rica on the other side, and one of the greats in the game, Shirley Cruz, may be playing her last time in Olympic qualifiers. We will be back with interviews from both squads, highlights and stats from this game. Jordan Heidema gets the game winner. Canada takes down Costa Rica 1-0.
All right, team. There's not. You cannot do to that was in the bench. You just cannot, right? So that wasn't the prettiest of matches. It was not. Right? They made it tough for us. We came through. Big Canadian heart. I'm very, very proud of that. So through some shitty moments, and it's about like keeping those frustrations up. Tokyo.
Tokyo 3, 1, 2, 3!